Good morning. Where's my microphone? Good morning. Running late this morning. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1052. Today was one of those, it was a long weekend, but a long, fun weekend. I'm going to talk about the Janesville Card Show, kind of a last minute trip to pick up some old Beckett magazines. And of course, the Club 400 Christmas party was Saturday night. So probably just going to get right into the show. I don't have much to talk about because, well, I mean, aside from the topic, because yesterday it really didn't do. I was tired. Some people call it a hangover. I was tired. I was really tired yesterday. I still, you can probably hear it in my voice. A little tired. No, and I think a lot of that, not the tired, I know what the tiredness comes from. I stayed out. I was up early. I was up early Saturday morning. Not as early as the Madison, because the Madison Card Show, I'm like at the venue at 5:30. But I like Janesville because I don't have as good of, for sales, I don't have as good of sales. Every show, and I've talked about this multiple times, every show has its ups and downs. And I think from a broad perspective, there is, each show has its kind of, once you do them regularly, they have their definitions. Madison for me is a little different because I'm the promoter. So Madison is good. It's like my home base, right? So a lot of people, hey, I've got Cubs. Do you want to buy? Do you want to trade? Here, have these for free. So I get a lot of that at the Madison Card Show. I do now that I'm consistently setting up in Madison, I've finally found the most efficient ways to run the show while also being a dealer at the show. And it's a one-man show. I don't have any help. Although I mean, when the rare occasions an issue or issues pop up, everybody has each other's back. So, so it's nice to have help from my dealers at the Madison Card Show, if anything does arise. Janesville has kind of turned into, it's kind of a enigma because I feel like I have mixed reviews. I do understand why dealers want to be in the same spot time after time. If you're setting up at card shows at a consistent basis, most of your sales are going to come from regular customers. And I hear it all the time. And personal experience, when I have a down show in sales, typically some of my regular customers did not make it to that show. And you can tell. So that's why it's very important to have fresh inventory, because if you bring the same stuff, you have the same regular customers. Well, I didn't want that last month. I don't want it this month. So Janesville the first few shows, I had terrible luck selling. Then it turned into a really good buying show for me. And it's been hit or miss. Yesterday or Saturday was, it was actually a better than expected sales day. In fact, usually I kind of keep a tally of how I'm doing during a show and at the end of the show, but it was such a crazy day, didn't have a chance to do that, which is good. And so I was tallying it up yesterday. I was looking at my sales numbers and I'm like, oh shit, I made a lot more than I expected, that I thought and that I expected. Now I just checked my eBay. I didn't check eBay over the weekend either, outside of sending offers and just seeing what was selling. I felt, this is why actually looking at the numbers is important. I felt like I had a good sales weekend on eBay. I didn't have a bad weekend, but it wasn't as good as I expected. Saturday was actually pretty pitiful, and Sunday was a little below average. But I thought, I'm like, I had a pretty good sales weekend on eBay. Not really. So that's Janesville's just kind of, it's hit or miss. It's always a good show. It's just there's not a consistent good. There's not a consistent bad. I think now that I've been established in the position I'm at the show, I feel like I'm doing better. And I was telling, there was a new dealer that I'd never met before set up across from me, and they asked me, because we were in the hallway, and there's the ballroom, which there's like 80 tables in the ballroom, and then the hallway out front. It is where the entrance is, so it's not like you're shoved in a side hallway. Like, people that enter the show have to walk and see that you are set up. You're literally the first thing people see as they walk into the door. So that's good. But a lot of times, depending on how many dealers, if there's only like 2 dealers in the hallway, people just walk right by. Like, oh, that guy's the grader. That guy's got bargain boxes. I'm just going to walk through. But I've got good dollar boxes. I've got some supplies. So I told them, I said, depending on how many dealers are going to be set up, the more dealers that are out here in the hallway, the better it will be for us. If there's only a couple dealers, and I've experienced that myself personally at the Madison Card Show, where there was just 2 or 3 of us in the mezzanine upstairs last November or December. It's like, ooh, this sucks. But I hadn't set up at the show for like 8 months. And there was, so there was a lot going on. So Janesville, there was quite a few of us, and it got good traffic. The hallway had good traffic. So it was a good sales day. And then in Rockford's always been great. Buying, not so much. Janesville, I get better buys, it seems, in Janesville than in Rockford. But my sales make up for that difference in Rockford. I just kill it in Rockford for some reason. And the funny thing is, Madison to Rockford is only an hour and 5 minutes, hour and 10 minutes. Janesville to Rockford is a half an hour, if that. And then Madison to Janesville is about 35, 40 minutes. So, but we see different crowds. A lot of the same dealers do the I-39 circuit. But we do get and the funny thing is, Janesville, which is where we were at this past Saturday, has a much different crowd than either Madison or Rockford. It's like, I don't see these people in Rockford or in Madison. So it's unique. It's an enigma. The Janesville Card Show is an enigma. So was up early to Janesville. My buddy Quincy came over. He lives in Waukegan. We've been buddies since sophomore year. He's a year younger, so sophomore year in college. He's a local guy. He's somebody's from Bradford that's in the chat every once in a while. Is it Bink? Bink Scott is from Bradford. So my buddy Quincy's also from Bradford, and he's up in Waukegan now. So he said, he's like, hey, how's the Janesville show? I think I'm going to come over. And this was a couple of weeks ago. And I said, well, come to St. Charles. St. Charles will be a better show. There'll be more tables. It'll be a better show than Janesville if you're picking and choosing, which, by the way, St. Charles is next Saturday. I don't have a banner up, but let's throw the eBay banner up. And he's like, well, my wife's out of town this week. She's in Kansas with her family. He's like, so, he's like, I can't do next Saturday, but I'm like, okay, well, if you can't do, then come to absolutely come to Janesville. So he came to Janesville. So he's got, if you want dirt on me, Quincy's got the best stories of our college days. So he came, and before he arrived, I'm walking into, so I'm just outside the main room, the only main room, the ballroom. And I walk sometimes if I have people like digging through the boxes and I know they're going to be there for a while, and there's like 3 or 4, I'll just take a lap and just kind of scope things out. So at one point I did that about 11 o'clock during the show. And I'm walking over to the right side of the room, which I hadn't been yet. And I look over and I see a familiar face, another college buddy who I haven't seen in probably 10 years, possibly 12 or 13, at least 10 years. And I just look, and he looks. It was like one of those like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Type things. Although he did, he told his son, as he's got a son who's probably junior high age, and he was telling, my Cubs collecting, and he goes, there's a guy that I know from college that might be here. He's got a lot of Cubs cards. So it was great to see Swanee. He's a football coach at Harvard now, which actually I drove through Harvard yesterday. That's where I jump on the Metro to go to Cubs games. And so we go way back. So I probably met Swanee through Quincy. So I texted Quincy. I'm like, dude, you'll never guess who's here. And he's like, whoa. He probably the last time either of us saw each other was probably the same. He's like, the last time I saw him was at Sports Corner. And I'm like, that was probably the last time I saw him. Because so Swanee and I get to know each other more when I worked in Galesburg, because he was coaching at Galesburg also. So he was in Galesburg when I was working in Galesburg. So later, about 15 years ago. So it was great to catch up with him. So the three of us were able to catch up. Gave his son's a Cubs fan. I'm like, who's your favorite Cubs player? I had bought a small box of modern Cubs from a guy who I've bought from before. He's like, what do you need out of there? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I need. I'm like, how much for all of it? And he's like, I don't know. You tell me. I'm like, well, here's the thing. There's a lot of there's a ton of Morel rookies in there. And I'm like, I already have a ton of those anyway. I'm like, I'll give you $20 and you pick out whatever you want. As long as like there's a few in there that I know I have. So I'm like, $20, but you have the choice of selling me whatever you want out of this box. So he's like, yeah, that's fair. So he pulled out some Morel rookies. He pulled out some Seiya Suzuki's, all stuff that as he's going through, I'm like, I hope he doesn't take that one, because I know I need that one. There was like a Zach Davies. I mean, it's a common, but it was like a gold or a gold foil, I think, that I don't think I might have it, but it's like, I know I have a ton of most of the other cards. So that was a perfect deal. He's like, can I keep the cases? I'm like, please, because I'm going to tell you what, they were in the snap tight cases. So I just pulled this out of the garbage. I throw them away. So I'm sorry. I know some people, no, you can't throw those away. I do. They're a nuisance. Those snap tight cases are a flippin' nuisance. I throw them away. So I did hoard them, and I had them sitting in boxes, and this was at the old house. And it's like, I can't throw anything away. Well, I can now, but I had these boxes in my storage room for like 5 years. And because I'm pretty sure I got them from a collection shortly after we moved into that house. And it's like, I can't throw these away, but I'm not going to use them, and they're not worth anything. And I'm not going to ship, because it's going to cost, $20 to ship. What I don't like about the snap tight cases is you can't put penny sleeves in there. I'm sure they make them for penny sleeves, but the ones that I always get you can't fit penny sleeves. So I just toss them, and I'm like, please take your snap tight cases, because otherwise they're going to go in the garbage. So it all worked out. I always bring plenty of boxes, so put them in a box. And so Swanee's son, he's like, Cody Bellinger. And I'm like, oh, there's probably, because this is all modern stuff. I'm like, there's probably Cody Bellinger. So I'm going through, and I'm like, do you like Christopher Morel? Because there's like 50 rookies in here. Do you like Christopher Morel? Here's a rookie card. And I found a Cody Bellinger. So they bought some stuff. It was cool. It was their first card show. Swanee's my age. He maybe a couple years younger, 40. First card show, son's first card show. Love to see it. Hopefully his son had a good time. His son, like I said, probably junior high age. Hopefully he had a good time, got some free cards. Dad bought him some stuff. So good times had by all. Let's go into the chat because I'm kind of getting deep into the weeds already, right? Low Roller says I'm late. Matty Ice, what's up? Good morning. Good morning. Set cards in the house. Raphael is here. Good morning. Red Light 34. What's happening? DPM Sports Cards. Good morning. Red Light wants to know how was the show? Talking about that, and I will say, and I put it in the description. It was, in the title as well. It was an unintentional buying day, but I didn't spend a lot. I spent a lot in Madison a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't spend a lot this weekend. But I got great deals for what I did buy. Christian's in the house. Good morning. Still getting over the turd of a Lions game. Okay, let's talk about that Lions game yesterday. Let's talk about the Lions game. Christian's like, no, let's not. Let's not talk about that Lions game. So the Bears and Lions yesterday. And remember, I'm really tired because I stayed up late, drank some beers, a little tired. I came home and, how was it? My wife says, I'm like, oh, la, 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 la. And I talk about how great it was. I'm like, how was your weekend? Oh, I worked. But I finally got an accepted offer on this deal. So after we exchange our pleasantries, I'm like, and she's like, you tired? You gonna take a nap? And I'm like, there's a nap in my future. Yeah. I went downstairs and I put sweatpants and my Chicago Bears hoodie on and I hit that couch and enjoyed the Bears game. So I'm enjoying the Bears game. I am truly enjoying the Bears game. They're fun to watch. Now, the offensive line was like, oh my God, but Justin Fields is so good. They win in spite of like the worst offensive line in NFL's history. Defense looked great. That's a good Lions offense. Bears defense, Montez Sweat, freaking stud. I'm like, this is fun. This is not a playoff team, Chicago Bear playoff team, but it's fun to play well and win. Now I'm in a conundrum. Oh, shit. I like this, but I don't. Now it's like, what do I want? My Quincy and I, we went to Buffalo Wild Wings after the show, and we're talking about this. He's a big Bears fan too. And we agreed on, it's like, I want them to play competitive, but lose to gain draft stock. Carolina's still on pace to get the number 1 pick, which goes to Chicago. And, if the Bears, depending on where they fall, if they can, keep that, the Bears, the first round pick they own, keep that one, trade the first overall pick, use that for additional draft capital and trade down a little bit. And if they're still able to get a Marvin Harrison Jr. and an offensive lineman and keep Justin Fields, that would be a perfect scenario. But the Bears now have 5 wins, and they're slipping. They've still got Carolina's number 1, but the Bears pick they own is probably in the 5 to 7 range now, because there's a couple 4-win teams. It's the Cardinals, Patriots, and Panthers at the top. I think right now it's the Panthers own the number 1 pick, which goes to the Bears. Number 2 is New England. I think they're 2 wins, and Arizona has 3 wins. And then there's a few teams with 4 wins. And then the Bears and I think 1 or 2 other teams have 5 wins. So I'm in that like, man, I want the Bears to win, but it doesn't mean anything except for my own happiness that the Bears win a game. And then I forget about it by 6 o'clock. Like, oh yeah, the Bears won today. So it's a conundrum. I am rooting for the Lions, though. I was rooting for the Bears yesterday, but I do want the Lions to play well. I'd love to see the Lions win a Super Bowl, but I want it to be in a year like this where the Bears suck. Although the Bears didn't really suck yesterday. David, what's up? Good morning. Low Roller Scratcher says I sold hockey cards this weekend. Mark Marinello, good morning. He's still on a Christmas con high. It's in his thumbnail. Check that out. There's Winnie Cooper. You know, I do not like Winnie Cooper in Christmas movies. She just, I don't know. She doesn't do it for me. I've said it many times. Lacey Chabert. I'm drawing a blank. Full House. Candace Cameron Bure. Jodie Sweetin. I like Jodie Sweetin Christmas movies. I haven't seen anyone's this year with her in it, though. Who else do I like? There's a couple others that I like. But I'm not a Winnie Cooper Christmas movie fan. It's like, oh, it's Winnie Cooper. I don't want to watch this one. There's another one. I don't know. There's something about her that I don't like. She probably reminds me of somebody that I didn't like in real life. And so I project it onto the movie that she's in. It's like, I don't like her. Harlan's in the house. What's up? Good morning. Andy Mack is here. Hey, speaking of Christmas, though, we put our Christmas tree up finally. It's always December 10th is when we put our Christmas tree up, which I get is kind of par for the course. My Jewish wife is the one who suggested, hey, and I'm freaking hungover. And I come upstairs and from the couch and I just want to hit the upstairs couch. She's like, do you want to put the Christmas tree up? And I'm like, oh, I don't have the energy. Sure. Because I knew if I didn't do it today, I've got to play catch up today. I don't want to do it tonight. Tomorrow I'm out of town. And then it's Wednesday, playing catch up Wednesday. It's like, okay, out of town this weekend. Well, just Saturday for the St. Charles Card Show. And then the Couch People Christmas party Saturday night. So it's like, okay, yeah, I guess if we don't put it up tonight. So we put the Christmas tree up. So now we have the menorah and the Christmas tree up. So that went up. And so like we have the plastic Christmas tree, you know, you get it Menards or whatever. I think that's where we got this one. And it's got like that fake snow that just sheds everywhere. And I'm like a messy person. So usually stuff like that doesn't bother me. But for some reason, this does bother me. It's not as bad. Like as each year goes, more of that shit falls off the tree, which means less gets like the first couple years, I'd just be covered with this crap. And I'd have to change clothes after just putting up a Christmas tree. What the hell? And so like 2 or 3 years ago, I'm like, it's shedding a lot. We should get a new tree. And she's like, oh, no, this is fine. So last night we're putting it up and she's like, I think next year is time for a new tree. And she's like, and we're not getting one with this flocking. I think, is that what it's called? Flocking? And I'm like, thank you. She's more like, I would think it would annoy her more than me. I think at this point, we're equally annoyed by the flocking. There's good timing, though. Cleaners come today. So anything that we didn't get, the cleaners can pick up. Donald Davis, good morning. I didn't go to any card show, but I did buy a small collection from someone off Facebook Marketplace. I didn't get too much. I probably paid too much for it. That's a bummer. That's why I'm really cheap with what I buy, just in case. Like, Value Box Digger, what's happening? I skipped the show in Minnesota this weekend. I've realized the show promoters here have created hobby burnout. Too many shows. Got to do other stuff on weekends too. It's a lot of shows. I mean, I've been speaking of that. This area's had too many shows for a while. Too many shows for a while. And then you got to pick and choose which ones you got to go to. It creates, it's like, stop starting shows. Andy Mack ran a successful 50% off sale this weekend. I moved a lot of inventory. Love it. Love it. What I love the most about running those sales is when you move stale inventory. It's like, and I didn't even run a 50% off sale, but I sold more 84 Donruss, man. If you have 84 Donruss commons laying around, list them on eBay. I think somebody jokingly in the chat several weeks ago said, because I was talking about not listing commons. And I have commons, and I've got a whole bunch of 84 Donruss in there. It's like, and they even mentioned, they're like, well, you have 84 Donruss. Well, yeah, it sells. I sell a shitload of them. Sold 10 of them to one buyer this weekend. then that's what, if I sell them for like $1.50 or $1.75, like that's sure another transaction. But when you can make $10 selling selling 6, 7, 8, 84 Donruss, hey, I'll take it. Money's money. Go Bears, Vikings. It's a miracle anyone won that game. Chiefs, Mahomes showing his true self. Crybaby had 4 quarters to win that game. Not one play. That was a shitty end, though. That was a shitty end. He kind of lost it there at the end. The wheels are coming off in Kansas City. What's going on? Johnny Boy Cards. Good morning. Happy Monday. Dan's with us. What's going on, Dan? Otani will be swinging his bat at Wrigley Field on opening weekend. Get your tickets, folks. Oh, we haven't even talked about that, have we? Oh my God. So I got the news. I was digging through a bargain box at the Janesville Card Show on Saturday when I heard the news. And I'm not even upset. $700 million over 10 years. I knew that that's just stupid money. And it's not my money. So it's really easy for us to spend our favorite team's ownership's money. It's really easy. It's really easy to spend other money. Should I buy this Bowman Draft hobby box? Yeah, do it. It's not my bank account. Do it. Hell yeah. Buy that shit. Not my money. Here's what I would do. I would not buy that box. Bowman Draft. So it's easy to spend other teams' money. But there's the old opportunity cost. Yeah, you get Otani, but what does that do to your team's budget for the next 10 years? You know, we saw in Chicago the Cubs tightening their purse strings and not spending money. If they spent $700 million to get Otani, I can guarantee you, no, we don't know this for certain, but it's the same people running the show. So I don't think they're just going to all of a sudden you know what? Let's just spend money flippantly and just buy free agents every year. No, that doesn't happen. So when I saw those numbers, I'm like, good for him. Good for Otani, man. Good for him. I'm glad it's not my team because I know how my team runs. Now, the Dodgers will, they can do it every year. They're going to spend the money every year. My team doesn't do that. So I'm okay with it because I know if they would, and what if Otani never pitches again, which very well could happen. What if he's just kind of like $700 million? $700 million. If you make $100,000, let's just put this into perspective. If you make $100,000 a year, if you make 6 figures, it would take you 7,000 years to get $700 million. I think that's the math I ran. 7,000 years. How many years does a person work? 40 to 50 years? 7,000. It's like what? 14,000 lifetimes? Jesus Christ, that's a lot. So I'm okay with it. But Otani's selling, man. I picked up some Otani. I'll toward the end we'll do some show and tell on what I picked up this weekend. Some of the stuff's already on eBay, so go to my eBay store. There it is, 99centcards.com. Links in the description. Some of the stuff I listed while I was hungover on the couch yesterday, so check that out. And then I did pick up some Otanis. So I've been moving quite a few of those. George in the house. What's going on, George? Andy Mack, I'm with you. Those snap tight cases suck. I hate them. Hate them. Flawed thinkers in the house. Good morning. Tigers 727. Good morning. Missed most of last week. Good to be back. Welcome back. Good to have you. Low Roller says, why you sell snap light case on your eBay? Because they don't sell. They're not worth a used snap tight case. It's going to cost more to ship than what they're worth. You don't make money on it. Looking to reinvest my 8-cent eBay payout. Any recommendations targeting 92 Donruss? What's up, John? JW, good morning. Crazy weekend with the trades in baseball and the Bears beating the Lions, right? Fun weekend. Brian Bourne, what's going on? Brian says, morning, hate those magnetic cases. Johnny M's here. Good morning from rainy New York. We've got just cloudy skies. I don't know. No precipitation. Probably cold. Oh, yeah, it's 23 degrees. James, what's going on? James was in the house. I saw James on Saturday. A lot of dealers had the same stuff. Good to see a few new dealers. Yeah, so there was some new dealers in Janesville, which was good. I don't think I bought. Oh, I did. I did buy a couple things from. I've seen their face. I think they've set up there before. Familiar. Dealer across from me was new, but they had like only football. Only football. They had like two, like my tables was like their tables, but they were all football. It's like, no baseball. And then I saw a few other dealers inside. I found some amazing deals and I didn't really look. Like, I didn't even look for deals. They just kind of like fell into my lap, almost literally, and I'll tell you about that. Zach and Porter, what's up? He says, classic Keating, an ink dot collector living in a no ink dot budget. Dream on. Hall of Fame card collector Mikey's in the house. Good morning. He's making some big egg and cheese croissants. Hey, speaking of, I've got a gripe. I've got a gripe. I was going to go to social media, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to use social media for good and not just bitch about my Dunkin' order. You know me well. I go to Dunkin' every morning, every card show morning. I get my large coffee, 3 cream, large hot coffee, 3 cream, sausage, egg, and cheese croissant. And sometimes, and I'll mix it up, sometimes I get the little hash brown coins, but they only give you like 5 of them. They're like $2 for like 5. What the hell is a ripoff? And then potatoes are like the cheapest food in existence. They charge you that much for, anyway. And then I've been getting a Boston cream donut. Little sugar in the morning. Little sugar, little protein. Nice little salt, sweet and salty. What the hell do you call that? Sweet and salty. Anyway, so I order my order. Got the Boston cream donut. I pull up. It was busy too, which this is about the same time I go every other time except for the Madison Card Show. Usually I have to go to McDonald's because Dunkin's not open yet. It's that early. So get my order. And so the thing is, usually it's hot, right? So I jump on the belt line and I'll sip on my coffee. And I don't start eating until I hit the interstate because I can put cruise control on. And hopefully it's early enough. There's not much other traffic. So I can put it on cruise control and I can eat my breakfast. So I'm excited. I'm getting my sausage, egg, and cheese on croissant. Open it up. And it doesn't feel hot. Like, it doesn't feel right. I take a bite. It's only egg and cheese croissant. There's no sausage in my sausage, egg, and cheese croissant. What the fuck? You left out the best part. Bastards. And of course, I'm like way down the road. I can't turn around and go back. Mother effers. So I had to eat my egg and cheese croissant and my Boston cream donut. I guess I saved some calories, but I was not happy. Not happy with Dunkin'. I guess we'll try it again next Saturday. Where we at? Max, what's up? Good morning. You're not getting Harrison either way, so might as well win. I mean, do you think we're not getting him because the Bears won't take him, or that he's not going to enter the NFL draft? Because he will enter the NFL draft. I know there was like some rumors over the last few days with the NIL. There's, at this point in time, I don't think any NIL offers can equal in NFL that high of a draft pick, top 5 pick. I don't think NIL offers can rival that right now. Now in the future, I think it's certainly a possibility, but not right now. So with their draft, I mean, they if Marvin Harrison is in the draft, he will be. Bears can get him number 1 overall. I don't see a wide receiver. I don't see them taking a wide receiver. I don't see any team taking Marvin Harrison Jr. number 1 overall. My fear is the Cardinals. Hopefully the Cardinals take a quarterback. My fear is the Cardinals are going to snake him at number 3 if they stay at number 3. So there you go. Kyle, what's up? Good morning. You play to win the game. Orlando's in the house. What's going on? Victor, the rookie card specialist, in the house. He tells John, I heard Will Greer is a good investment. Is it Greer or Grier? I hear it both ways. I like Greer. You know how I mispronounce things. Johnny M says, do you ever get the feeling that LRS may be a stalker? Every day. Every day I get that feeling. Let's see. Value Box Digger says he's been for over a year now. I'm waiting for the day Bo starts his show with LRS knocking on his door saying, you're late. Brian says Danica McKellar has been voicing DC comic characters for years, and I'm here for it. There you go. I'm not a Winnie fan. Brian says, the other Brian says, flocked is what you call white Christmas trees. Flocking. Yep, flocked. That's what we have. We have a flocking Christmas tree. It flocks all over the place, and it's flocking annoying. My 2-year-old flushed a washcloth last night. That's not good. We are down 1 toilet, so that's kind of morning I'm having over here. Well, that doesn't sound very nice. Mark says, I bought tickets to meet Lacey Chabert. She canceled the day I went, so I went with Winnie. She's still a cutie at 49. Wow, Winnie Cooper's 49? Good for her. She does look great for 49. Looks amazing for 49. 3,000 to 1 women to men ratio. I bet. Christmas Con. There you go. If you're a single guy, go to Christmas Con. Dan says, good morning. The Bears still have a shot they could win out going into Lambeau. Well, I don't have that. I'm not that optimistic. Anytime the Chiefs lose is a great day, says Red Light 34. Dan says this year it's house money with that Carolina pick. That's true. You should root for that team to keep winning and build a winning culture. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen with this coaching staff. This coaching staff is terrible. Get them out. Got some of my chat. They're like, well, we should keep Eberflus as the defensive coordinator. First of all, no, get him the hell out of there. I don't care how good he is as a defensive coordinator. B, who's gonna? Yeah, I'll stay here for less money and a less of a job. No. That's dead man walking. Get him out of there. Get them all out of there. Mark says Otani has a Bonilla contract on steroids. Brian says, I post some of my card art on eBay. Several of them were tagged as counterfeit and pulled from my listings. I need to get a hold of eBay so that doesn't keep happening. That's interesting. And I've heard that happening with some other stuff. I've heard that happening with, I don't remember where I heard or saw it, but I've heard that like unlicensed, like Broder cards. I've never had an issue. I list Broder cards all the time because they are good sellers. Now you're not going to get some of the Jordans will sell for $10, $5 to $10, but your Jerome Waltons and Ty Griffins probably going to be in the $1.50 pile, but the Broder cards typically move, Bo Jackson, Michael Jordan, those, and then the other guys, will sell for less. But somebody mentioned, I don't know if it was on YouTube or where, but that some of those have been tagged also, which I haven't had any issues with that. Flipping Sports Guy says, well, apparently it does minimal to the budget for the next 10 years. It's the years after that he'll hit their budget. Yeah, oh yeah, because they massage the contract to it, so it's a wacky contract. So it's not like he's making $70 million per year. There's a lot of deferments, and it's structured really crazy. I haven't looked at the details. I just read that it's got a bunch of deferments and all that. Jeremy, what's up? I know Hoyer Ricketts hasn't done a lot as of right now, but I'm happy they didn't do the Otani or Glass Now thing destroys our future. Absolutely. So I'm not sure what Glass Now, but now there's rumors that the Dodgers are in on Glass Now, which Cubs fan, I love Cubs fans. I hate Cubs fans. It's a love-hate. Cubs fans are like, well, we can get Glass Now for, and they name like 2 or 3 bums that like, no, even if it's 1 year of Glass Now, you're not going to trade like guys that are, not worth it. It's like, well, we don't want these guys. These guys suck. So let's just trade them for Tyler Glass Now. So I'm not a big Glass Now fan. Look at his numbers. If we could trade a couple of, and I think, and there are some candidates the Cubs have that I think Tampa would take. I think it would take more than like the name that I would offer up, Hayden Wesneski, because he's shown at times that he can be a good starter, but he's also shown times that he might not be a good starter. But I think he could be like a reclamation project, which Tampa Bay is pretty good with that. But they would also need some other, I don't think Hayden Wesneski is going to headline a Tyler Glass Now trade. It would take a decent prospect or player. So, and now with the Dodgers potentially throwing their hat into the ring, okay, it's going to take a lot more than, what most Cubs fans want to get that deal done. Kyle says, with California crazy income tax, maybe Otani should run some of his cash through skill games for tax benefit. There you go. That's a good idea. James says, heavy football at the show. Yeah, a lot of football at the show on Saturday, which kind of this year, and I noticed that over the last couple of years, I've noticed that this time of year, because a lot of baseball is at like discount price. Like, you look at comps and it's like, oh, this market's down. Like, especially with prospects, Bowman Chrome autos. Like, you have to it's like finding a needle in a haystack. Finding Bowman Chrome autos this time of year. Now, sure, there's some guys that kind of specialize in that, and they have a lot of that stuff. But generally speaking, you don't see them in showcases with people moving in and out. They've got a lot of football in their showcases. Dan went to a card show on Saturday, and it was the second time this season I walked out empty-handed. Was only looking for inventory and not PC stuff. Just spent the $5 for the entry fee. Wow. So I did buy I didn't spend a lot of money, but I picked up, it was good value in what I bought. What show did I do? There was one show Chicago Sports Spectacular. I was telling somebody at the show on Saturday in Janesville, it's like Janesville on Saturday had much better bargain boxes than the Chicago Sports Spectacular. So if you're looking for bargain boxes, it's not quite so spectacular in Chicago. And that was what, $12 entry fee, $15 parking. Ugh. I won't be going back in March. I'll probably go back in November, maybe, just depend if my schedule works out. I don't know. Michael, good morning. What's up? Shane's in the house. Good morning. Low roller. Okay, we've already addressed that. Dan says, and we are also moving into the card show hibernation here in Syracuse. The next show won't be until March. That's a bummer. Might have to make a trip to my childhood home in Chicago for more inventory. Hey, we've got plenty of shows around here. My God, there's like 3 a weekend within a short drive. Yeah, because there was Janesville, and I think Darien had a show yesterday or on Saturday. I think there was a Sunday show somewhere also. Max says, still don't understand the Dunkin' thing. The food is better at a gas station that's been sitting for 5 hours and their flavored water sucks. I like Dunkin' coffee. I like the croissants. He's going to be getting more money to stay. Plus, he wants to beat Michigan. I don't think he'll get more money to stay. I don't think we're there yet. And I think money trumps all. Like, yeah, I'd like to beat Michigan, but like the risk you're taking at that point, because he's assuredly a top 5 pick, if not a top 3 pick. That money's, what happens? He goes back, he gets hurt, tears his ACL week 2. Won't want. There's just so much risk that it's not worth taking at that point. Even if he does get a couple mil, a few mil in NIL money, that's one and done. NFL contract a little longer. So, but what do I know? Matty Ice, currently sorting my PC teams for the first time in 42 years. I knew it was bad, but not this bad. I had 442 Sandberg duplicates. That'll probably be the most of any player, but they'll be close ones. Yeah, I have, like, it's pretty easy when people ask what's the most that you have of a card, and it's Ryan Sandberg most definitely is probably, still logging. Haven't gained much ground in my logging on TCDB. So next couple weeks, hopefully I'll be able to get some more stuff logged. Flawed Thinker says, I would have loved to see Otani go to Toronto. It would have been such a curveball. I would have loved to see that just to get him or to keep him in the American League. I mean, the benefit is I'm a fan of a National League team. We get to see him more than what we would have in the American League, which is also, we have to play against him more. So it's like, Jordan, what's going on? I sold a card on eBay and can't locate it. Do you run into this? Yes. And how bad is the hit from eBay if you cancel? I mean, I'm not going to say it's a regular occurrence, but it does. It's not uncommon that this happens. So basically, I do the best I can to try to find it. Sometimes you just can't find it. So, once it gets close to the end of my handling time, I will reach out. I'll send a message to the buyer and say, hey, I'm still looking for this. That's why there's a delay. I'll keep you posted. And then once it gets to the handling time, it's like, shit, can't find it. And then I will say, hey, I can't find this card. Is there anything else in my store that you would want in replace of it? Or do you just want a refund? I give them the option. And it's about 50-50. Sometimes they'll be like, yeah, you've got enough in your eBay store that, yeah, I'll just take this card. And then I'll send them that card as a replacement. And so that way there's no ding. Like, it's just as is, right? And then half the time they say, I need it for a set or something. Just give me the refund. And so you have to cancel, item not in stock. How much does it? I don't know how. I don't think anybody really knows how much that hurts. You don't want to do it consistently, because then it will hurt. But if it's just here and there, I think you're okay. It also depends on how many transactions you're doing. I'm doing over 100 a day, so it's not going to impact me as much as somebody doing 10 a day. So, so that's how I handle it. So, depending, I would always offer that option. Like, hey, is there anything else in my store that you would like in replacement? Down on the farm, what's up? Keep an eye out for Carter Hawkins to reunite with Shane Bieber. I wouldn't mind that. Of course, it also depends on, who I'm willing to give up. Hey, I'm all about trading prospects for established big leaguers. But then there's some prospects, it's like, but not that one, right? Max says there's already offers for him to get more money to stay than go in the draft, aren't there? There's been like reports, but hey, what we've seen the last week with Otani, how accurate are reports? Someone was there. There have been reports. Let's just Google it, because I did see a headline like, "Oh, Marvin Harrison Jr. might stay," but I don't think there's anything to it. Let's just type in NIL. Let's see. NIL Revolution, Sports Illustrated. Ohio State's bold play to secure Marvin Harrison and Travion Henderson. They say it's a revolution. The NIL game continues to shock sports, and the Big Ten show discusses the recent NIL deals in college football. So let's see. So there's a report that says both Travion Henderson and Marvin Harrison Jr. have been offered what Brooke Fletcher of Big Ten Network have called a first-round NIL caliber deal to return to Ohio State. So take that for what it's worth. Could it be possible? Absolutely. Do I see it happening? No, I don't. Low Roller says, oh, there's my stalker, Low Roller Scratcher. I sold the Matt Stafford lot. I did. That's NIL for you. Absolutely. So it was a busy day at the Janesville Card Show. I made more money in sales than I expected, and that I thought when I went and tallied it up yesterday. I bought some stuff. Little show and tell time. Running Buck Woodcraft, what's up? So the first purchase, where were they all? The first purchase was a table next to me, and they just had like a mishmash of stuff. And they had like just a random box, couple boxes. One was $5 per card, one was $10 per card. And I'm like, well, what's in here? And I see some vintage. And these are like, they were so nice. There was one card, I didn't buy it, but it was so like I had to look closely front and back. Like, is this real? Is this a reprint? Because it was so clean. I think this is this 1950 Bowman? So I picked up 5 cards. I got them for $20 total, so $4 a card. Eddie Mixis, I think that's 50 Bowman. Hal Jeffcoat, little off center, but like the corners, a couple of these cards, the corners are just like I might even send these in for grading, just to see what type of grade. I have a Joe Garagiola. I have this card, but it's like beat up. That I probably got for a couple bucks. So for $4, this is a big upgrade. So that was cool. 54 Max says, thank you. I was way off. And then picked up some non-Cubs, and basically for what I will sell these for will probably, they'll make up for the Cubs purchases. So 64 Topps Tony Canigliaro. I think I sold the last one I sold was like $12.50. This one looks to be in a little better condition. So Tony Canigliaro, rookie card, and a 55 Bowman. This one, when I went and comped it yesterday, didn't comp for as high as I thought it would. But a 55 Bowman, Jimmy Pearsall. So they had a bunch, it's like, damn. But I don't know grading. It would have been a nice, potentially great. So this came over. This was who gave this to me? Somebody gave this to me. So thank you. I'm sorry. I can't remember who. Seiya Suzuki rookie Sapphire, which I think is I don't think I have one of those in my collection. Then let's see. 5-star cards has the I got to tell a story about that. And that was got these. What else did I buy from John? Okay. So I didn't get over to 5-stars table until later in the show. So it was pretty picked through. And he had a $1 box, and Shohei Otani's been selling well. These were all in the $1 box. I did pay $1 each. I found there were only 10 cards that I wanted. So I didn't want to I didn't ask for it. It's like, what am I going to do? $8? Nah. So I paid $10, mostly Otani's. So like a Mosaic Prism. A lot of these will sell for $4 to $5. Some of them probably $2.50 to $3, but overall, for $1 a pop on Otani. There was a first Bowman Chrome auto of Anthony Greer. It's probably $5. And then one for my personal collection of Mark Pryor, Allen and Ginter jersey relic. So those were out of 5-stars, $1 boxes. Now, funny story. There's a kid about 8 years old that's at my table. And he's got like a pile of football cards that he's pulled out of my dime box. I had dime boxes. And he flashes this to a rookie, select Prism rookie. And he's like, what's your value on this? And I'm like, I don't know what he meant by that. Like, does he want to sell it to me? Does he want to trade it to me? Is he just asking what comps are? And I'm like, I'll look up comps for you. I'm like, it's $10 to $15 card. And he's like, so how many cards can I get for that? And I'm like, that's a nice card. Like, these are just dime cards. I'm like, I'm not interested in trading. You can trade it with somebody else and get a nice card for that. And he looked kind of bummed. And so he's persistent. And he's like, well, I want to trade it for your card, for some of your cards. And I'm like, why? I'm like, you can sell this to somebody for at least $10. Like, you can probably get 15 for this. And he's like, you have really good stuff in here. And I saw he did have a CJ Stroud. I'm like, oh, I guess there is some good stuff. I forgot to pull that out of the dime box. So I'm like, I'm trying to tell him, you can get a better deal than a pile of dime cards. And I do know some of them are worth a lot more than, obviously most of them are all worth more than a dime. Kid's freaking persistent, wants to trade me his damn Tua rookie for a bunch of dime cards. And I'm telling him, and he's persistent. He's got a freaking giant stack. I'm like, okay, I know. So you do know this is a $10 or $15 card. You can get money for it. Well, I don't want them. I don't want money. I want to trade. Okay. So I said, here's the deal. I'll do a trade, but you can take as many cards as you want. As many cards out of the dime boxes as you want. So we made a trade. So he took a giant stack of cards, and I got a Tua select rookie card. Then my buddy John, who's a dealer at my show and was a dealer in Janesville. I'm trying to find what the third card was I pulled out of his. Was it this one? Yes, because it's got the pink sticker on it. So here, and this is funny because I was looking through John's stuff like during setup, and he had a bunch of, not a bunch, but like 4 or 5 Cubs cards in his $5 boxes that it's like, oh, hey, I want some of these. So I'll come back later because they're like names like Scott McKeon, Kevin Made, and Reginald Preciado. And I'm like, oh, these will probably be available in the next 3 shows. I'm the only person that's going to want to buy these. Wrong. Ooh, little belch came out. Wrong. So I go back, it's like noon, maybe even later. And I'm digging through and it's like, where's that Made? Because he had like a Kevin Made orange out of 25 Bowman Platinum auto. No, it's not really worth much. It's probably worth $5. But it's a low numbered auto. Kevin Made's not even with the Cubs anymore. He was traded. But there was one other card that I saw that it's like, I really want this. I don't even care if it's not worth $5, but I'll pay it. Ticket stub, authentic ticket stub relic with the game used, authentic game used memorabilia. Alfonso Soriano from 2009, and this is numbered out of 79. I'm like, I'll buy that for $5. Heck yeah. The Made was gone. The Preciado was gone. The McKeon, numbered out of 150 auto. And then I'm like, this is a mood ring. These are like case hits. I'm like, this is, worth at least $5 if I can get a few bucks more and maybe, pay for part of the total. So, $15 worth of cards here. And John goes, he looks at him, he goes, just give me $5. And I'm like, really? I got 3 cards there. He's like, $5. Merry Christmas. Well, thank you. So basically the Jet Williams will pay for both of these, Scott McKeon and Alfonso Soriano. So that was a cool deal. Now I'm looking, it's like, well, shit, I don't have much left from the other purchase. So I guess this is all I bought. I didn't buy much. So then I'm hanging out with East Coast Tom and Bronco from Baseball Card Illustrated. And we're all just chatting. And one of Matt's from 5 Star Cards, one of his kids comes over and he's like, hey, we found a $5 box that was on the floor that we didn't put out. Do you want to look at it? I'm like, heck yeah. So I look through and there's a ton of cards that I like. And I'm like, oh, shoot. I'm like, well, I'm going to come over and I'm going to buy some stuff. So a bunch of stuff is already in my eBay store. So just check out my eBay store Found some really cool stuff out of the $5. And these actually turned out to be $4 each because they do a 5 for $20 deal. So Nelson Velasquez, Chrome rookie auto, which I don't think I have. No, I don't have this. So for $4, hell yeah, even though he's not a Cub anymore. Cabrian Hayes, Prism Spectra something, but it's numbered out of 15. It's a Cabrian Hayes rookie card, numbered out of 15. So this will be going into my eBay store today. This was a card I passed on. This was in one of his original $5 boxes. I knew it was a short print, but some of the short prints are only worth like $2 or $3. So I wanted to make sure. So I passed on it. I made like 3 buying trips because he sets up right next to me. So I kept going back and forth. So I looked this up, and this is about a $15 card. So I'm like, oh, okay, I get it for $4 and, make it for 15. I did take some flyers. Now these, I just had to have these. Yeah, I'll put them in my eBay store, but just to have them for a moment in time. That's what, my Cubs are my collection. And then there's cards that I want to have, even if it's momentarily. Like I just want to have these. I'll look at them for a couple days and then I'll sell them. So that was the case because this takes me back to my childhood. And this is what brought me in to the NBA. I was a huge basketball card collector and a huge NBA fan in the early to mid 90s because of this guy, Shaquille O'Neal. This is the trade card. I was disappointed when I looked at comps. This is only like a $7 or $8 card. I paid $4 for it, and it's fun. And it's one of those where I'm not disappointed. Like if I take a flyer on something for $5 and it turns out to be $1, it's like, oh. But I'm not disappointed with this. Like I would pay $4 for this. Like I don't collect other stuff other than Cubs, but hey, if I have to have that in my collection, I'll pay $4 for it. And I think this was a mail-in or something. The draft pick DP1 of Shaquille O'Neal. So those were like fun pickups. And then I took I took flyers on, and none of them ended up being, what I thought they might be. Although I haven't looked at the Halliburton yet. So this is 90s inserts, man, can be boom or bust. And these were kind of busts. So this is the Midas Touch. I don't know 90s inserts. So I'm like, I'm just going to take a flyer on this because this might be a $100 card and it might be a $3 card. And it's about a $3 card. So I paid $4. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. Midas Touch John Elway. This is a Pacific Crown Royale. This is a low serial number out of 375. I'm like, this has got to be big money. It's probably $10. Probably $10 from the comps that I saw on eBay. This 90s basketball inserts, and I'm like, wow, this is shiny. Look at Sean Kemp, top crop, Pippen on the other side. I'm like, wow, this is probably something. And it's probably worth about $4. So, and then Tyrese Halliburton, he's having a really good year. This is one of those, I don't know, some type of prism. So I haven't looked this up, but I'm sure it's a $5 card. I mean, he's a basketball card that's actually worth something. So there's a bunch of other stuff. The really cool stuff I already listed. I've already sold at least one card from. I sold a Jordan. There was an orange prism die cut rookie Jordan Love. Got a lot of traction. I had it listed for 15. I had a couple $7 and $8 offers that I countered to 14, and the second person snagged it at $14. So there's a couple other things. I don't think I've sold anything else from that batch that I listed last night. Maybe one other card. I can't remember. But there was a Kylian Mbappe numbered out of 175. That was another one I passed up. It's like, I don't know soccer, but I think Low Roller Scratcher would want me to make that purchase. So I looked it up. I went back. This was in one of my back and forth trips. It's like, oh, it's a $20 card. Okay. So I'll go back and pick that out. So didn't buy much, but it's I'll make a profit, maybe double my money. So not bad. So then Quincy and I went out to Buffalo Wild Wings, watched the Badgers get blown out by Arizona on Saturday afternoon. And then Friday night I was on Facebook and just kind of bebopping around Facebook. And in one of the Facebook groups, I don't even know which one it was, I saw a guy who had a stack of old Beckett magazines, and he's like, free if you pick up. And of course, usually I look at, and he's in New York or Florida. It's like, well, shit, I can't pick those up. And I looked, and he's like, if you're in the Chicago area. I'm like, oh, I'm in kind of the Chicago area. So he's in Schaumburg. I'm like, well, shit, I'm going to be in near Schaumburg Saturday night. So, of course, everybody's like, well, how much do you have any of this guy? Do you have any of that guy? How much to ship? It's like, because there's like 100 of them. It would have a lot of money to ship and a hassle. Like, I wouldn't no, you either come pick them up or I'm dumping them. Like, that's just, I'm not going to spend time to put them in boxes, take them to the post office. And no, we're not doing that. Especially he's giving them away. So I sent him a message, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in your area. I'm doing a card show during the day, and then I'm going to be in I'm going to be in Crystal Lake area, so I can swing by like probably around 5 or 5:30, if that works for you. If they're still available, and if that works for you. He's like, there's one other guy ahead of you, but he's kind of waffling, which happens all the time on Facebook. So he's like, okay, that guy's out. So they're yours. And here's my number. Shoot me a text. So sent him a text when I was leaving Buffalo Wild Wings, and said, hey, my ETA is between 5:30 and 5:45. He's like, oh, I won't be home at that time, but I'll leave them, around the back of the house. They're in this thing. So picked him up, and I started going through them yesterday. And I mean, they go back. The Beckets are mainly 87 to 94. I think there was like one from 95. But there were maybe half of the 87 run. I think I have like 2 runs of the 88 baseball. And then quite a few of 89 through 93. And then there's like 2 hockey Beckets. There's a few basketball. There's a few football. Actually, there's quite a few football. So I was actually grabbed this December 1987 Kirby Puckett, and it's really fun. Like some of the stuff that's in here, the hot and cold list was like 40 players deep. There's a kids corner with Tommy Wheatley. He's a 9-year-old. This issue, he was talking about having a baseball card party, and he gives you tips on a baseball card party, which we now call trade night. Just the articles are fantastic. Early Beckett's. And I've never read like a lot of the early, I've had a couple of issues from like 1986, but I don't think I've seen any 87, 88 issues. And then by 89 is when I was starting to get Beckett magazine and reading them. So that was fun. Like there's like 100 Beckett's and a few tough stuffs, like maybe 5 or 6 tough stuff magazines. One from 91, which I didn't even know Tough Stuff existed. I thought it came on like in 92 or 93, but 91 on the Tough Stuff. So Low Roller wants to know if you can sell those. The thing is with Beckett's, unless it's 85 or 86, they're not worth a damn. So I was looking up, I'm like, oh, there's a whole bunch of 88s, and they sell for like $10. And you've got to ship, and it's going to cost $4 to ship, and then you've got eBay. So now I understand why people sell them for like $2 an issue at card shows. So, no, I did not pick them up to sell. I keep Beckett's. I keep Beckett's to read, and I like I just like preserving the history of the hobby through these old hobby magazines. So, I think now that I have, because I've got a probably a tub or 2 of Beckett and baseball card magazine. I think I'm going to go through and get those, like what are those like boxes you put magazines in? I don't know, your library has them. I might get some of those, and now that I have enough to fill, like here's 1987, here's 1988, here's 1989. So that's the plan. A lot of fun. So let's go back to the chat real quick. Where we at? Brian says, sold all of my Jaguars debut Coca-Cola bottles. Finally, sports Coke bottles are the worst collectible to sell. Yeah. I'm telling you, magazines are like almost worth somebody who's, of course, he's like a graded magazine collector. Oh, want to bet? Of course. Like, for the most part, when people say I have these magazines, they don't have like a crisp CGC 9.8 in their closet. It's this that's been read through. And it's like, no, it's not. It's worth a couple bucks. So yeah, magazines, newspapers, it's just like not worthless. It has value. Like, they have value. I hate using the word worthless because it's not like, these are, to me, and I buy if I can find them. Usually I don't like buying them on eBay because the shipping, they're overpriced and they have to be shipped. But if I find, actually, Mike Summer, when he had his card shop inside the card shop, I picked up like 5 or 6 old, a couple Beckett's and a couple like baseball card magazines. He had them like $2 each. So if I find them for like $2 a pop, I'm in, because it's just for my own collection. Collector's Dream says, for the first time, I saw Jeff Wilson make a great trade. He traded Otto Jordan and Trevor Lawrence and got a green Cobb and a Ruth. Ooh, wow. That's a nice trade. Yeah, and I would agree. That is a great trade. Let's see. Bargain Boxer went to a card show in Hayworth, Illinois, home of the Hornets, at the American Legion. Why are all card shows at American Legions? Anywho, guy opened what looked like a ton of blasters and put every damn card in a $5 box. Every damn card. What is wrong with sellers? No autos, so not every card. Why? Well, sometimes that happens. Let's see. Where are we at? Bargain Boxer says, anybody else seeing that crap at shows, or sellers just looking for huckleberries? Possibly. Bargain Boxer says, oh, forgot, Hayworth was the worst card show I've ever been to. Well, that's not good. I was at Club 400 Christmas party on Saturday night. Mike Talkman, Brian McRae in the house. John Maley, hitting coach for the Cubs, was there. Wayne Messmer. Great time. Drank a lot. Stayed out late. Hungover Sunday. One of the guys that was there, I'm having a beer. I'm standing by the bar, and all of a sudden, Stu, who owns, it's his house, runs Club 400. All of a sudden, he's on the microphone. He's very chatty on Saturday night. He goes, "Where's Bo?" And I'm like, "Did he say Bo or Joe?" I get that a lot when I'm like, "Oh, people aren't calling for me; they're calling for Joe." Oh no, it's Bo. And then he said again, "Where's Bo 1 million Cubs?" I'm like, "Oh, that's me." So he had me up and interviewed me about Cubs collection and all that stuff. So somebody had come up to me later in the night and said, "Hey, I've got $40,000 worth of wax." And my initial thought was like, good stuff, right? Good stuff. I'm like, oh, piqued my attention. He's like, I want to sell it. I'm like, so what do you got? I'm like, I'm thinking he's got like, I don't know, a bunch of good stuff. No. He's like, oh, I've got everything. Blasters, hanger packs. I'm like, oh. Wah, wah. I'm like, so it's all, is it all retail? Any hobby? Like, no, it's all retail. I'm like, oh no. He's like, at retail, it was $40,000. I'm like, oh man. He's like, if I could sell it for $25,000, I'm like, oh. So I'm trying to let him down gently. And I'm like, that's going to be a tough sell. It's going to be a really tough sell. I said, send me pictures, because there might be some good stuff. I know it's probably all COVID boom stuff, but I don't know that for sure. So, if there's some 2018 Topps update, probably not, but there's a chance. Bowman, some of the Bowman mega boxes are still, worth a little more than retail. So He's going to send me some pictures of what he has. My fear is it's a bunch of Panini Prism Draft, Panini Chronicles, Topps Flagship, Topps Fire. And I'm like, oh. Because realistically, with that much, I think he would be lucky to get 25% of retail price. It's probably going to be closer to 15 to 20% of that. Because a lot of that, depending on what it is, a lot of that isn't even going to move at 50% off retail. Like we see on, Blowout has some sales on blasters where they're like $10 and people still aren't buying them. So, it's probably going to be 10 to 15% in that volume. I don't see anybody spending 25,000 on that. 10. I don't even see people. I don't even think 25. 10,000. I don't. Depending on what's in there, just I guess I'm thinking the worst here, but it's like, oh. Where are we at? Max says to the bargain boxer, I've seen good $5 boxes and bad ones. Absolutely. These $5 boxes, good $5 boxes. Jeremy says, I love Kirby Puckett. Ron Gant does not. Plenty of cards at every show you can find in a quarter box and go to the next table and they are in a $5 box. That's what I saw. That's what I saw in Chicago at the Spectacular. There was a lot of $5 boxes that this stuff should have been in a $1 box. And it was almost every table was like that. There were no true bargain boxes at the Spectacular. Bargain Boxer says nothing worse than $5 crap boxes. That's what I just go through and I take a pile. And if there's dollar cards, it's like, I just pass. I don't want to spend too much time there. Max says, but there's a reason why the quarter box guy sets up at the next show and the $5 guy does not. And there you go. You see the guy with the crappy $5 boxes and guess who doesn't set up as a dealer at the next show? Ken says, if you go to the can at Bose, there's a stack of Beckett's for reading material. So growing up, I don't keep magazines in the bathroom now, but, and I think my mom still keeps like a library in her bathroom. There are freaking sometimes I go home and there's like a 1994 Street and Smith College basketball preview magazine that's been in the can since 1994. Shane says, I found a box that was all 75% off. He puts all his $2 cards at $8 to $10. So the 75% off put them at the card value. Asked how much he wanted for the whole box. He proceeded to tell me that he is not accepting anything that's a couple $100. Tried to tell me his box was valued at like $8K. Oh, God. Told me 75% off was already a big discount and wanted $1,000 for his 3-row. I laughed and left. Absolutely. Collector's Dream says, I love Beckett's and have a ton. Some covers are beautiful. Definitely great articles. Mine have been very handled. Same here, because that's what I get them for, to read. Let's see. Shane says, if I see a table that has $1, $3, and $5 value boxes, I walk right on by. I'm going to assume your boxes are at card value since you don't have $3 cards in your dollar box. That's a good point, though. Sometimes I've noticed, because there are a few dealers that I know that do that type of pricing, and some of them have $3 cards in their dollar box and $5 cards in their $3 box and $10 cards in their $5 box. So now some people don't, but some people do. So I don't walk by. I always check it out. Usually I take a look, and if there's quarter cards in their dollar row, it's like, okay. Then I just skip to the $5 just to see, and it's like, but sometimes it's like, oh, this is a $10 card. So then I go back and I start looking through the whole box. So I don't walk by, but I make sure to check it out just to see. Bargain Boxer says, what does $40,000 of retail actually sell for? $2,000? Probably, I think probably 4,000 to 6,000 is probably, depending on what it is. If it's a bunch of 2021 Topps Series 1, Series 2, Topps Fire, Panini Prism draft picks, if it's that stuff, you're probably looking on the low end, 4,000, 10%. But if there's, depending on what it is, could be a little more. Let's see. Bargain Boxer would be interested in the first off the line boxes. Flawed Thinker says, if it's all blasters and hangers, I'd love to see how much space that actually takes up. So let's just do the math here. 40 grand divided by $20. That's 2,000 if it's all blasters. And he did say hanger packs and some other stuff, but just blasters, that's shit. What was the math on that? Was that $40,000 divided by 20? 2,000. That's 2,000 blasters. If it was all blasters, it was 2,000. Because assuming it was all $20 blasters, which it would have been if it's during the time I think it was. Max says, Shane can still find good stuff in those boxes. Never know, but on average, sure, I would probably agree. I'd still take a handful or leaf through. Absolutely. I'd definitely be taking a look just to see. Flawed Thinker says, Maxim and Rolling Stone were the only magazines in our bathroom in the early 2000s. So I had, I always had like a basketball, usually college basketball preview magazine. Sports Illustrated was a big one. Maxim, late 90s, early 2000s. Maxim, definitely. Never did Rolling Stone. I had a few issues of Rolling Stone, but it was usually Sports Illustrated, Sport Magazine. And then for a time, wrestling magazines. I was big into wrestling magazines in the mid-90s. Slam magazine was big. I had all the original issues, which those, by the way, those sell really well. That's an exception to my rule on magazines suck. The first few issues of Slam magazine are pretty decent. If they're in good condition, I think they can fetch over $100. Let's see. Where are we at? Bargain Boxer says, I went to another show this weekend and picked up a Michael Thomas Optic Gold Vinyl 1 of 1 for less than the price of a blaster. That's why I go to shows. Yeah, that's nice. Max says, I bet none of his blaster inventory was purchased at 20. I don't know where he sourced it, but I think it might have been. I think he might have just been going to Walmarts and Targets and buying it all up. So I don't think he was, because he's not a card guy. Because this was at the Christmas party, not at the card show. Let's see. Maybe the kid traded his $15 card for your dime box. He probably sell his card show for $1 each or his eBay store. The kid's 8 years old. I don't think he has an eBay store. So that was, it was a good weekend. It was a busy weekend. It's going to be a busier Monday with a whole bunch of shipping to get caught up on. eBay store link. What I showed off here today, minus the Cubs, will be available in my eBay store at some point in the next couple days. Already some new inventory that I picked up out of the $5 boxes on Saturday already in my eBay store. So take a look. If you buy 7 or more at regular price, you'll save 25% at checkout. All in all, it was a great show. I'll be setting up again this coming Saturday in St. Charles, Illinois at the Kane County Fairgrounds. Don't miss this. This is going to be a phenomenal show. We had an absolute banger of a show a couple months ago. It was the opening day. It was a Sunday, the opening day of football season, Bears and Packers, and the place was still packed. So I'm excited for this show right before Christmas. Going to be even more tables than last time. And I'm going to restock my dollar boxes. Sold a lot of dollar cards this weekend. And I'm going to bring my quarter boxes out for this show. So I'll have the quarter boxes, I'll have the dollar boxes, and I'll have some select supplies. So Chris D, what's up? How many orders per day does your store generally get? On average, around 125. 125 orders per day on average. Bargain Boxer says, I might hit the St. Charles show again. I would recommend it, man. Hope to see you there. It's going to be, because I know you were there at the last one. It was a good show. There's going to be even more tables this time. And I think there's going to be, a big crowd, a bigger crowd than what we saw, as we're approaching Christmas. So, I'm looking forward to a great show. It's going to be another long Saturday, this coming Saturday, because after the show, I'll be heading back home so we can partake in the Couch People Christmas Party, which is this Saturday night. Couch People Christmas Party, Saturday night, 7 p.m., 7:30 Central, depending on what time I get back from the St. Charles Card Show. What is the Couch People Christmas Party? Well, the Couch People Christmas Party is just this. but in prime time, and we open up the stream for anybody to join in. Even Low Roller Scratcher is welcome to call in. The link will be in the chat in the description to call in. And we just hang out. We talk about Bitcoin. No, we don't talk about Bitcoin. We might if Low Roller jumps on with us. So we just hang out, talk cards, nerd out, bring some wax to open. So I've got Heritage High number should be coming this week. So I'll save a box for the Christmas party on Saturday night. Shane says, can we flex the Christmas party? I thought you were talking about like flexing. Can we flex? We cannot flex the Christmas party. It's 7 or 7:30. That's the options. 7 or 7:30 Saturday night. Those are the options. So Couch People Christmas party this Saturday night. So hope to see you there. Hope to see you, Randy in St. Charles. Hope to see you Saturday night with the Couch People Christmas party. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I don't know how many likes we've gotten because Uncle Rich didn't join us live this morning. So hit the live button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Shop my eBay store. Pick up some good goodies that I found this weekend. And that's what we had. We'll be back on live tomorrow morning. Wednesday morning this week, still kind of uncertain. Probably going to be staying over back home Tuesday night. Low Roller, thank you, says 19 likes, 20 likes. There you go. So I'll probably be staying over Tuesday night back in Anawan. So probably won't have a Wednesday morning show this week. So like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Dan says Korea time. That is Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Awesome. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great Monday, and we'll talk tomorrow.